Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publicists Association's Let It Be Known. Jamie Foxx's daughter says he's out of the hospital and has some harsh words for the media. And I think it's unfair, and I will tell you why. About a year ago, Motown legend Smokey Robinson made some comments about not wanting to be called African American. In fact, he said American American. And Smokey Robinson has doubled down on those comments over the weekend, and we'll tell you why. And America's gun violence pandemic now has former President Barack Obama calling for a national conversation. We will discuss. Also, Memphis Grizzlies star Ja Morant has received the equivalent of getting fired on your day off. In this case, it wasn't fired but suspended, and we will explain why it is absolutely insane. But first, President Biden gave the commencement address at Howard University and laid out to young Black folks what he's accomplished for HBCUs and for Black America. He also promised that he was going to continue his fight against white supremacy. Some of the Howard University students stood with their backs toward the president in protest of all of the problems plaguing Black America. He on Saturday told graduates, the president did, of a leading historical Black university, of course, Howard, the Mecca, that American history has not always been a fairy tale and that racism has long torn us apart. But on the nation's best days, he said, enough of us have the guts and the heart to stand up for the best in us. As the president spoke, more than a dozen of the students, as we said, stood with their backs to him, holding handmade signs in silent protest over what they said were many forms of white supremacist violence. In Biden's speech, he described the 2017 white nationalist rally in Charlottesville, Virginia. Of course, we all remember the one where the former president said there were some good people. But Biden said had helped compel him, that incident helped compel him to run for president in 2020. Hate, he says, never goes away. And silence, the president said, is complicity. He said, we know that American history has not always been a fairy tale. Push and pull, he said, is how he described this constant battle as a push and pull between the idea that all people are created equal and the harsh reality that racism has long torn America apart. But on the best days, enough of us, he says, have the guts and the hearts to stand up for the best in us, to choose love over hate, unity over disunion, progress over retreat. Biden recently announced that he is indeed running for a second term in 2024. He said he came to Howard University to continue to work to, quote, redeem the soul of this nation, which was a theme of his 2020 campaign. He told the graduates that they feed his optimism for the future. He says, you're part of the most gifted, tolerant, talented, best educated generation in American history. And he said, that's a fact. And it's your generation, more than anyone else's, who will answer the question for America. Who are we? What do we stand for? And what do we believe? And what do we want to believe? It was unclear whether the president was aware that the students had turned their backs and holding those signs. It was hard pressed. You was hard pressed to find them. Of course, Greer was able to dig out some of that information, some of those images, I should say. One sign named Jordan Neely, the New York City subway performer who died on May 1st after he was chained in a chokehold by the 24-year-old Daniel Perry, a former Marine, who on Friday was arrested and charged with second-degree manslaughter. More on that situation. A GoFundMe account to pay for Daniel Penny, I should say, legal fees has reached more than $1 million with multiple donors, many giving 10,000 and more to help this man beat his second degree murder charges. America, don't we have, I was watching Bernie Mac, so I say, America, don't we have enough other issues to give $1 million to? We saw this guy 15 minutes choke out and choke to death this homeless guy. And we have $1 million to give to a fund to defend him. Very interesting where this is coming from. But the White House had no comment going back to the president's uh, his situation at Howard with the students turning their backs on him. The White House had no comment on that. He spoke after he was awarded an honorary Doctor of Letters degree. Howard University hosting the president, and the president given a very lengthy address too. That's one of the things I never liked about graduations. They're so long. Actually, when my sister got her doctorate, was it last year? Actually, it wasn't that long. Wasn't that long. And it wasn't an honorary doctorate, Biden. It was a real thing. That's why she's Dr. Nicole. Anyway, the president was like, yeah, but I'm the president. Also, in the news, former President Barack Hussein Obama, Barack, is urging Americans to have a dialogue about gun violence as the U.S. recently surpassed 200 mass shootings so far this year. It's May 15th, folks, and over 200 mass shootings already this year. And we know that the gun violence archives characterizes mass shootings of at least 3 victims, not including the shooter himself. So lots of mass shootings in America, at least it was surpassed 200. But the former president discussed the challenges of reducing gun violence and how gun ownership has become an ideological and partisan issue. He sat down for an interview with CBS Morning and Nate Burleson. The full interview will air tomorrow. And Obama says in that interview, he says, I think somehow, and there are a lot of historical reasons for this, gun ownership in this country became an ideological issue and a partisan issue in ways that it shouldn't be. It has become sort of a proxy for arguments about our culture wars, urban versus rural. Race is always an element in these issues of class and education and so forth. So the comments by Obama comes as lawmakers face renewed calls for further gun legislation from family members of shooting victims, activists, and constituents. And that last thing there, constituents. When was the last time a politician listened to their constituents? They have gone totally deaf, at least tone deaf on this issue. Obviously, polls after poll after poll continues to say that the majority of Americans want some concrete gun control laws that Congress continues to skirt around because of their allegiance to the NRA. Uh, any action, Obama said, always faces staunch resistance in an increasingly divided Congress. He says we have to recognize that we can ban these weapons. There's millions already out there. Of course there are. One senator, Louisiana Rep. Bill Cassidy, responded also by saying that somebody who decides to obtain a weapon illegally, it's Monday. To obtain a weapon illegally probably can do so. Bobby Henry is chiming in. Bobby Henry, my man. He says, good morning. Don't forget about the mass shootings that are done by our fastest legislators and their bills to kill with legislation. And I think that's part of what the former president was talking about. Last week, 8 people were killed in the shooting rampage at an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. That's just the latest. It's almost a given that when we wake up tomorrow or sometime today, there's going to be a mass shooting somewhere. So this is where we at. The Obama Foundation, by the way, also announced an initiative titled My Brother's Keeper, or MBK, to help young men of color in their communities remain safe from violent crime. The program will provide coaching, educational opportunities, financial resources, and more. Of course, during Obama's presidency, he called for stricter gun laws and urged Congress to reinstate the assault weapons ban following the 2016 Pulse nightclub attack in Orlando, which killed 49 people and wounded dozens more. He says instead of just taking a very practical approach like we do, let's say, for example, with car safety, where we say, all right, we got a bunch of accidents. Let's have seatbelts and let's make cars safer and let's engineer our roads so that we prevent them. Instead of thinking about it in a very pragmatic way, we end up really arguing about identity and emotion and all kinds of stuff that does not have to do with keeping our children safe. That is the strong admonition from former President Barack Obama. Gail Williams, my mentor, the world must be looking at the U.S. like we are a place of insanity. I think we talked about that not long ago. Um, the world is indeed. In fact, I did a story. I filed a story actually just this weekend about Kamala Harris, and one of the things that came out in that story is how the mainstream media, we're gonna talk more about the mainstream media and the Jamie Foxx version of this show today, this morning in a little bit, but um, how they attack and have been attacking Kamala Harris since day one. Now I'm going to be extremely transparent. I've never really been a fan of Kamala Harris, but but fan or no fan, as Vice President of the United States, she has been getting the job done like no other vice president we've ever seen. And they have questioned whether or not she's fit or that whether or not she would hold the ticket back in 2024. Yet she's what's driving the ticket in 2024 based on the fact that she spent the first 2 years in a evenly divided Senate casting the decide more than 29 times a record. She had a record number more than 29 times. Vice President Harris had to cast the deciding vote to make sure that laws like the American Rescue Plan passed, make sure that um, appointments, nominations got through that the president wanted to do. Um, and so when the Roe v. Wade, prior to Roe v. Wade being overturned, she was at the forefront and remains at the forefront of women's maternal health issues. She's been orchestrating things at the border to try and keep that situation under control. Not the president, but the vice president. In fact, I found a poll 18 different nations. This is show you just how irresponsible we can be, who all give her a magnificent rating. The leaders of 18 nations were polled, and they believe that Kamala Harris has done the best job as vice president. And you got to remember, a lot of these nations, they keep their leaders for a long time, whether they like it or not. They believe that she's done the best job. And in fact, in Sweden, her approval rating in Sweden is 77%. There's not a politician in the land who would who wouldn't give their kidney for a 77% approval rating. So the hate against Kamala Harris is driven by things that I'm sure we can all guess. A woman, she's a woman, she's a woman of color, and the hate against her is just palpable in the mainstream media and unfair. There was a Zoom call with some Hollywood power brokers in March. And in fact, they are big time Democratic donors. And they asked former Senator Barbara Boxer, who hosted the Zoom call, her to relay to President Biden to remove Kamala Harris from the ticket for 2024, and that he would stand a better chance of winning. Unreal, unreal, unreal. So we're not going to feed into that narrative. We'll continue to report accurately. the vice president, like the president, when they mess up, we're gonna hold them accountable. It's as simple as that. That's what the black press does. We're gonna move on to listen. I hate reporting this particular story, but do you remember the movie Friday where Craig got fired on his day off? We all laughed. It was a movie. But the following is nothing to laugh about, and it's not a movie. Memphis Grizzlies superstar guard Ja Morant has been suspended from the team activities after he posted an Instagram live video appearing to show him flashing a gun while in a vehicle with others. It circulated yesterday on social media just 2 months after the athlete was suspended over a similar video. Now, how is that akin to Friday? Well, the Grizzlies season is over. You got suspended when the season is over. That's akin to being fired on your day off. But more importantly and more seriously, this is a 23-year-old, a very troubled and very, very wealthy 23-year-old. He obviously have no real friends and no family to really start, say, hey, dude, next year he kicks in a new contract. He's 23 years old. It's a 5-year contract that will pay him a guaranteed $194 million. And he's putting it all at risk because he can't leave the hood behind him. This is a young man who already lost $40 million because he was suspended and missed the All-Star game. That cost him $40 million. And nobody, not even his agent, no one steps in and say, listen, young man, there was a lot of apologists for him, including my man that you see in the picture there, second from the right, Jalen Rose, who I absolutely love Jalen Rose. But Jalen Rose was like, oh, give the young man a break. Give the young man. Somebody, Malcolm Lord, said he's not from the hood. Power 96 says Jay Morant needs an intervention or a personal armed security guard. I don't know that he needs a personal armed security guard as much as he needs an intervention. He's by choice doing these. He got suspended for the same thing that cost him $40 million. And yet, Ja Morant does it again. And on social media, perhaps Power 96 is saying he needs a security guard, an armed security guard, somebody who, if he feels the need to have a weapon present, then hire somebody who's legally able to carry that. And don't put yourself at risk like this. Dude, $200 million, $194 million, but basically $200 million. You will be getting, but now the talk from the commissioner and others is league officials are saying he has to be suspended. Some saying at least 20 games next year. And others are pushing the commissioner to suspend him for the entire season next year. If he misses a season, you do the math. 1 year for him, what? That's about $40 million. It's about 40 million. So he's already lost $40 million. And the reason, let me just clarify, by him missing the All-Star game, he's suspended. His Supermax contract would have automatically kicked in, and he would have gotten $245 million instead of $240 million instead of $200 million. So he lost the $40 million because he was suspended. He couldn't play in the All-Star game. That's NBA, how the NBA works. And I guess it goes back the other day. If you missed the show, I had two feisty females on going at me with the Brittany Griner and the salaries of the WNBA and the NBA. But this is what these guys are getting paid. He's 23 years old, pretty much fresh out of college. And he signed the rookie max and $200 million. But he's risking it all to impress people on social media. Ja Morant, you automatically, because of who you are going to have millions of followers. You don't need to impress that way. It's unreal. He escaped. When they suspended him earlier, he was at a nightclub waving a gun in Glendale, Colorado. He was fortunate that they didn't press charges against him, and the police did not arrest him. Unreal. Power 96 brings up what happened to Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert Arenas' career was over after that. He played around with guns and he was kicked out of the NBA, Power 96 says, and absolutely right. And if you remember, Gilbert Arenas was like the sharpshooter, not with the guns, but with the basketball, right? Promising career, Washington Wizards, and threw it all away, brought guns into the locker room and threatened, allegedly threatened a teammate with the guns. We got to be smart. This is come on NBA. The elders of the NBA. I mean, it's not necessarily on you, but perhaps the LeBron Jameses of the world, even the retired ones like Charles Barkley and others. Maybe they can take these young guys under their wings. Maybe the young guys won't listen to them. I don't know, but maybe they can attempt to do that and say, "Listen, this is the life right here. We play a sport we love. We get tens of millions of dollars. We get all this kid. I don't know what his situation is as far as a girlfriend or wife or whatever, but he's got the pick of the litter simply because he's famous and he's got all this money. Um, kid, don't throw. I say kid because I got children older than you. It's like, come on. We rooting for you, John Moran. We rooting for you to turn this around, get some mental health counseling, and follow whatever advice that a mental health counselor or doctor will give you, and stick to that routine and understand your position. Understand you got so much to lose. I love the saying, and I forget who said it. I don't hang around people who have nothing to lose. Think about that for a second. You don't hang around people who have nothing to lose. Ja Morant, you got so much to lose. Hang with people like you. On to Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx's daughter, Corinne, who initially broke the news, and keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind. Corinne initially alerted the media that her father had suffered a medical complication a month ago. She did. She did not. No one would have known that Jamie Foxx was hospitalized. But anyway, she's breaking her silence now. And she says, after rumors have swirled for several weeks on how he was doing, Jamie was doing, what happened to Jamie, he took to social media to say that he was out of the hospital and has been out of the hospital for weeks, according to her. Um, and this followed up a post by a blogger who said Jamie Foxx's loved ones reportedly are preparing for the worst. And then she said in her post, update from the family. Sad to see how the media runs wild. My dad has been out of the hospital for weeks, recuperating. In fact, he was playing pickleball. Somebody just had to tell me, Greer just had to tell me what pickleball was. I didn't even know what pickleball. I didn't even know black people could say pickleball. He was playing pickleball. She thanked everyone for their prayers and support, wrapping up the message teasing that they have an exciting work announcement coming next week as well. And she put up a smirk face emoji. Well, here's the problem. Like I said at the top, you, Corinne, alerted the media that your father had some sort of medical emergency. You did this. And so naturally, first and foremost, one of our primary jobs as journalists is to be nosy. That's what we get paid for, to be nosy. Jamie Foxx, Oscar winning Jamie Foxx is newsworthy when he has to leave a movie set and get rushed to the hospital. That is going to be news every day, all night long. You put it out there. No one knew about this, but you decided to tell them. And then you said, give us privacy. You had your privacy. You had your privacy. You didn't have to tell us that he was in the hospital. Now, had we found out another way, now, okay, now you got beef. Corinne, you have no beef with the mainstream media. In fact, and Power 96 is saying mainstream media got it all wrong with Jamie Foxx. I'm not surprised. Anything for clicks and likes. Power 96, my man, on this one, you're wrong. Go back and look. Mainstream media didn't do it. It was these bloggers. It was these posters on social media. It was his friends, his Hollywood friends doing the speculating, feeding media. And mainstream media didn't carry much of that. Mainstream media always said, and I give them credit. It's rare that I give mainstream media credit, but I have to give them credit. No one ran with the wild rumors that he had a stroke. No one ran with the wild rumors that he was in a coma. No one ran. It was the bloggers and those individuals posting on social media, on Twitter, in the Twitterverse. I don't even think Black Twitter went in like Black Twitter was like, we praying for Jamie. Because his Hollywood friends were the ones throwing this out there. Oh, y'all got to pray for Jamie, like something was really wrong. And guess what? Wait a minute. There still has been no proof of life. You want to keep it real, Corinne? There's been no proof of life. He was playing pickleball. How come you ain't show us a picture he was playing pickleball? There's no video. There's no picture. There's no picture of him leaving the hospital, except somebody put up a fake thing of him running out of the hospital. Proof of life. And go after the real source. People who are quick, they want to be first, but it wasn't mainstream media, and it certainly wasn't the Black press. So stop blaming the media. And these folks, these superstars, they would be. Just think about had the media not even covered the fact, if they even knew, and not even covered the fact that he went to the hospital, there'd be an uproar about that. You can't have it both ways. You are newsworthy. You've made yourself newsworthy. Denzel Washington is newsworthy. If he gets sick, goes to the hospital, a medical emergency, we're going to be right there. We're going to be right there. And we're going to be, and here's what's going to happen if it's Denzel. We're going to have to fight through all the women to get through. They're going to be at the hospital at the door. Denzel. And we're going to be trying to get a story. You can't, you got to be real. You got to be real about this. Come on now. We all love Jamie Foxx, perhaps the most talented of all out there. The guy can sing, he can act, he's a comedian, he's a musician, he's an entrepreneur. You can go on and on and on. How many can boast that? You got people who can sing, you got people who can dance, you got comedians, you got actors. He's all that and then some. So he's going to garner our attention. He's going to demand our attention. So this idea that the media, everybody always blames the media. Do right. Do what's right, and you don't have to worry about the media. And be honest. Nobody asked you. It's like people volunteer lies. Why do you do that? Nobody asked you. Did anybody go to that set? Right? I think Cameron Diaz is on the set too. If anybody go to that set and say, hey, is Jamie Foxx here? Is he in the hospital? Is he okay? There was no need to. Lauren Burke says, all for traffic and money, and it works. And that's exactly right. All for traffic and money, and it works. Y'all feed into it. Y'all go to these blogs, and then then you become imitation Donald Trump's fake news when he comes to the real news. That's why everybody's so misinformed today. You're willfully, in some ways, misinformed. And this is one situation where the real media should not be taking a hit for. So, you know what? We love you, Corinne. Love you, Jamie. But, shoot that arrow somewhere else. Smokey. My man, Smokey. Smokey changed his face. We got a clip to show you first before we get into Smokey. Smokey's the man.
An African American, that
Yes.
you are a Black American. Yes.
Explain.
I think that when they call black people who were born and raised for generations in this country, if you accept the handle of African American, that says that you don't accept being an American American. You don't accept being born in Chicago or New York or Detroit or wherever you were born. For generations, your family has been here, you know, built this country too. Sweat and tears and all that, fought in every war. Okay. So this is my country here. So I don't want to be called African American. I'm an American American. My people have died and done everything for this country.
Do you agree with Smokey Robinson? Uh, please put it in the chat. Let me know what you think. Smokey Robinson, a year ago, he made these comments and then doubled down on them in that interview with Chris Wallace. Uh, I know that there was a while ago where if you fill out your driver's license, your whatever you're filling out, passport, job application, it 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 didn't say. It said black, whatever, African American. But the thing about it is, um, this division that we have in this country is and Smokey saying, look, despite all that, I was born here. I was born in Chicago. Born in Detroit. I'm born in New York. I wasn't born anywhere else. Smokey says he's never been to Africa, and that's kind of surprising. But he said he's never been to Africa, and I know that Power 96 is Black American or African American is fine with me. Just don't call me the N word. Exactly. I know that when I was growing, I don't recall growing up being labeled African American either. I know that some people said Afro American, some people just said black, um, and then there was I'm not black, I'm whatever. But Dr. Nicole, I had a thought, says he makes a good point. Plus, as we know, Africa is not even a country. So it's not even like saying I'm an Italian American, etc. Bingo. There are 55 countries in Africa. So we're in Africa. Are we South African American? Are we Malawi American? Are we Ghana American? So so his point, Smokey's point seems to be well taken here. Um, you dismiss so much already with this critical race theory, what the contributions, the massive contributions of Black Americans when you divide it like that, right? Um, I just had a problem with that too. I had a problem with that for a long time, and sometimes despite having a problem with it, I'm gonna speak for myself. I just went on and accepted it. I accepted it because that was the norm. But kudos to Smokey for standing his ground and his position. And he got a lot of blowback when we reported this last year when he first said this. He got a lot of blowback. People were going in on him. I wrote a story. It ran in the Washington Informer, and the comments from that story, we got so many comments. Oh, he's denying his African roots, and no, he was not doing it. He was talking about his Chicago roots. He was talking about his Motown roots. Um, yeah, I agree. Greer writes that black people have an identity problem, and she says she disagrees with Smokey. See, and so you can look at it. It's several ways to look at it. I don't happen to disagree with him. She disagrees with him. Um, Power 96 seems to disagree with him, and Dr. Nicole agrees. But that's the thing. What are we? And there's a simple answer to that question. We are American. This is as much as our home as Europeans and others. So that's how I look at it. But not that how I look at it counts. But that's how I feel. Smokey, I hate the fact that it's Monday. Should I get in trouble? What should I do, Greg? Should I get in trouble? Um, yes. She said, I understand also why we struggle with that question, but I'm going to get in trouble because trouble seems to find me anyway. So why not? Um, Smokey, what in the world with the plastic surgery? I don't understand. Don't understand, especially, and this is a controversial comment, especially black people. Look, Lionel Richie don't look like she's a brick house. See, he doesn't look like hello. He doesn't look like all night long. He looks like a space creature. What in the world? I mean, come on. Give it a rest. It's like a disease in Hollywood. I'll never forget. Michael Jackson said, if anybody in Hollywood tells you they haven't got some sort of plastic surgery, they are lying. That came from a man who got many plastic surgery. He was 100% right. Of course, he destroyed himself, unfortunately. I just remember in the 80s, like, I don't want to make it about Michael, but in the 80s, I, let me put it how women just loved this guy so much. I went on a date with a girl, 1984, to the Victory Show. I somehow came up with the money to buy 2 tickets to take her. This chick, I'm dating her, writes a love letter to Michael Jackson. Women were in love with Michael Jackson. He was a good-looking man. He was a real good in early 1980s. Who at some point, Lionel Richie, yeah, I mean, look, Lionel wasn't perfect. He wasn't no Michael Jackson, but he wasn't no alien either. Who looks in the why are you guys looking in the mirror and what are you seeing? Who's telling you this is okay? And I have a friend, love her to death, Tracy Campbell. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at that. I have a friend who would say to me, and she knew my relationship with the Jacksons, and she was like, she would say, "You come on, none of them. This is a black family. None of them snatched him up and smacked him around and said, 'What are you doing?'" But Smokey Robinson comes from a black family. Lionel Richie comes from a black family. I mean, give it a these guys. What are you doing? They can look, they can Hugh Hefner. Hugh Hefner was an old, nasty, grimy looking, disgusting looking billionaire who can get any woman he wanted because he was a billionaire and he was famous. These guys, no matter how they have you seen my man Aerosmith got Lee Steven Tyler, he got a song said, "Dude look like a lady." And that's exactly what he looks like. But he can get any woman he wants. He ain't get no plastic surgery. What in the world? You got to stop. Interventions. We talked earlier, somebody mentioned the intervention with John Morant. These guys need interventions. James Brown can't be proud, talking about I'm black and I'm proud. Y'all did. Oh my gosh. And then to see it, and even some rappers, hip hop artists. Come on. It's you can explain away, and I'm certainly not for like breast implants and nothing like that. You can explain that away though. But the other stuff, somebody said Lionel Richie looks 30 years old. Are you kidding? Power 96 is Monday. Stay away from the bar. Lionel Richie looks like 30 years old to you? Come on. Lionel Richie looks unrecognizable. He went to Prince Charles's thing, King Charles's thing, standing there. I'm like, who in the world? That's Lionel Richie. Unreal. I mean, look at Smokey's eyes. Look at his Smokey. And many said he was a good looking man. Of cruising together. And all the women went to cruise with him. They all went to cruise with him. There were some dudes who wanted to cruise with him. He was good looking. Unreal. Come on. What are we going to do about this Power 96? David's not on this morning. I think David might have an answer. But Power 96, what are we doing about this? Dr. Nicole, use that degree and tell me use that doctorate and tell me what needs to be done here. Because we need to have some conversations. Why the self? I take it as self-hate. You're mutilating yourself. They all talked about Michael Jackson. And I understood at the time why they was talking about Michael Jackson. But look in the mirror. Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror. Look in the mirror. They look awful. These are icons. You love them. You hate what they've become as far. Oh, gosh. It's giving me just gonna mess up my breakfast this morning. Good night. Anyway, I said I was gonna get in some trouble. I know I'm gonna get in some trouble for that, but it's the truth. And I don't care getting in trouble for the truth. They should not be doing this. Who are you to say they shouldn't be doing it? I got eyes. I got eyes. Bobby Henry, Professor Bobby Henry chimes in. He says it goes back to the study done with the black child with the white baby doll, and the black baby doll and the black child chose the white baby doll all the time. Power 96 says they want to look young instead of embracing natural good look. Exact. They wind up not looking young. And Dr. Nicole is right. It's not just the celebrities. She says, because you got those out there with the BBMs. Is it BBMs? Brazilian butt BBLs. You meant L's, right? But it's true. It's true. It's not just the celebrities. The celebrities are who we see all the time. On the tube or on social media. But many of them, BBLs. Many folks are going that way. Look, embrace your natural beauty. Look, I'm getting older. Look, I'm not doing nothing. First of all, when you talk about surgery, this is why I could never get a tattoo. I hate needles. And surgery, choosing surgery. Oh, when surgery is done on me, it means it has to be done. They going in to do something, to fix something, to help me to live. Oh my gosh. It's not happening. No, I'm not a big time celebrity. I'm a celebrity in my own head, in my own little world. But I can't do it. I can't understand it. I saw Smokey talking, and that's the other thing too. Like, so you lose the message sometimes because of what the messenger looks like, and it's just the truth. You ever go to a graduation speech and see a homeless guy giving the graduation speech? You don't, because the message gets lost. You start questioning, well, why would they have a homeless guy? And how can we help this homeless guy? It's just, you don't do that. It doesn't make any sense, right? But Smokey, what you been smoking? It's unbelievable. Lionel Richie, I can't even. What's the show he does? What's that show Lionel Richie's on with the judges? They took out American Idol, which I don't watch anymore. I stopped watching. The best thing about American Idol was the idiot Simon Cowell, and that was the best thing about it. Paul Abdul was annoying. Randy was Randy, but I watched because Simon would tell people exactly, what are you doing here? It would be like me going on American. If I'd have went on American Idol, I would have got the Simon Cowell treatment because I deserved it. I can't sing, but he's on American Idol, Lionel Richie, and that's not why I don't watch. But if he was on there looking like he does back then when I did watch it, I wouldn't watch it. He's unwatchable. You cannot look at this guy. You need dark sunglasses. something that blinds you from him. Look, it looks like, what nationality are you going for here? You do have black skin, but everything else, dare say, I mean, this like somebody put him together. We can rebuild him. Oh my gosh. Power 96 says Smokey's been in Debo's chicken coop smoking the wrong stuff. Right. Puff, puff, but keep it to yourself. Don't give. It's unbelievable. And it's not just Smokey and Lionel. And we honing in on them too. I am anyway. These are, they come from the era, from the best music company ever formed. Everybody had everybody got Motown memories. Everybody. Our soundtrack in our lives. Come on, be honest. It has to include Motown songs. And Smokey wrote most of them. Good night. Unreal. Ah, should I get off this subject, y'all? But when I see Power 96 write stuff like he's been in Debo's kitchen, look at, oh Lord, why you show that picture? The answer is no to the question. Hello, is it me you're looking for? Unreal. I just can't. I can't get over it. I would love to have Barrington's take on it. Would love to have had his his take, because Austin, y'all know Austin would have been all political. Well, you know, the idea that people live their lives the way they live their lives. Who do we to judge? That's Austin. Barrington would have been like, that's some bleep bleep bleep. He's not even proud that he's black. That's what. Those are my boys. That's what it would have been. That's what it would have been. And I wonder what the women would have thought. I wonder what Dawn would have said. Dawn would have been like, let me just do my hair. And Dawn, let me just put another social media picture up so I can get me another million likes and hits and followers, and then cut some guy out who crosses the line. That's Dawn. But that would have been that. Anyway, folks, I done spent all this time on Smokey Robinson, and that's a shame. Thanks for watching us this morning. We really appreciate you guys. The boys will be back at some point this week. Until until then, you were stuck with me this morning. So we appreciate you. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I keep promising that there will be some stuff on there that you won't see on Facebook. And it's true. I live up to my promises. I do. And Greer knows I do. Even if it's a promise to disappoint. But check out our YouTube page, the Let It Be Known's YouTube page, and subscribe there. I noticed that the subscriber activity has been going on lately, so keep it up and spread the word. The headlines from the Black press. This is how you want to start your Monday. This is how you want to start each day, each weekday, because this is what we're going to bring to you each weekday. But check out our YouTube page. Just hit subscribe. Just hit subscribe. I don't know what my wife is writing. She's writing something with TFTY. If that means that you're waiting for me, hopefully you got on the best lingerie. Oh, we got to go. I will see you tomorrow.